Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today at our press conference. I am Nirmeen Abdelhamid, Public Information Officer at the Independent Institution on Missing Persons in Syria. We will start with a few remarks by Her Excellency Assistant Secretary General Karla Quintana, Head of the Independent Institution on Missing Persons in Syria, and then that will be followed by questions. Your Excellency, please.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for being here in person and those who are following us online. It is a privilege to address you today, given the urgent importance of the file of missing persons in Syria and the recent release of the Secretary General's report on the work of the Independent Institution on Missing Persons. To begin, let me provide a brief overview of who we are and what we do. The Independent Institution is a UN General Assembly body mandated to clarify the fate and whereabouts of all missing persons in Syria. We look for everyone, and we are also mandated to support the families of those missing. Its mandate, our mandate, is key to supporting the right of families and to all Syrian society to know the truth, to know what happened to their loved ones. Everyone has someone or know someone that is missing in Syria. We search for everyone who is missing in Syria or in the context related to Syria, regardless of their affiliation, their nationality, their ethnicity, or the context in which they went missing. The institution is a product of a collective action led by families, especially women, civil society, and member states. Continued multilateral support for the independent institution is essential. We are designed as an institution to complement national efforts, not to replace them. We are an institution with a clear strategy equipped to fully support and facilitate the Syrian-led and internationally supported efforts of the missing persons file, intended to progressively evolve into a hybrid institution if and when circumstances allow. We all want these conditions to happen as a step towards Syria's peace and national reconciliation. And we also know from comparative experiences that this takes time, resources, and coordination. Our work is complementary to other mechanisms. The independent institution complements mechanisms like the IIIM, the Commission of Inquiry, and other international institutions to address the file of the missing. The crisis of the missing in Syria affects not only hundreds of thousands of families, but entire communities and the whole Syrian society. Confronting this requires mobilizing every available skill, resource, and capacity. We are realistic about the scale of this challenge. Information is vital when looking for the missing. It allows us to connect the dots together. The search for missing persons needs a holistic strategy with a massive approach methodology and efficient information sharing systems. Looking for the missing requires tools, expertise, infrastructure, science, knowledge, and resources, including investigative expertise, data collection, and forensic science. No one can do this alone, and no one can morally bear the responsibility of failing to use all that is ready and available to use in Syria. Time is of essence, and comparative experience should be taken into consideration. We are mandated to clarify the fate of all those missing, both alive and dead. As provided in the Secretary General's report, the independent institution has opened several lines of inquiry, has developed systems and data analysis, and is developing a forensic network. The institution is currently investigating forcible disappearances by the former regime, missing children, placed in orphanages by security services, the so-called security placements, as well as the disappearances by Daesh, missing migrants and asylum seekers, and new disappearances post-December 2024, especially in Latakia, Tartus, and the Suwaida governorates. This does not mean that we are not working on other disappearances. To strengthen our capacity to identify the missing, we are building a coordinated forensic community that can support the identification of the living and deceased and share resources, expertise, and help the authorities in developing a government-led strategy with international support. Families are at the heart of our institution, and this is something that makes us unique. Victim-centered work is not just a principle for us. It is our daily practice. We are expanding outreach to ensure all voices are heard and represented. Participation and representation include daily engagement with families of the missing, and also we are very happy to share with you that we had the first meeting with our advisory board. We are developing a comprehensive referral system to support families in Syria more effectively and also in host countries, covering healthcare, psychological support, and legal assistance. Knowing who we are looking for is vital. Our registration process has been tested with dozens of Syrian families in Lebanon and Germany, and they welcome this progress towards comprehensive registration by the institution. We have since received several requests for many other families. We are coordinating with the government on how to complement these efforts. The institution is in a constructive engagement with the Syrian authorities, in particular with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and with the National Commission for the Search of the Missing, to work together hand in hand with all our tools, technical expertise, and resources to search for hundreds of thousands of missing persons. The independent institution welcomes the Syrian renewed engagement in the international community. Just a week and a half ago, the Syrian president, His Excellency Ahmed al-Shara, acknowledged here in this building the need for truth and accountability and the establishment of national commissions. This, of course, aligns with the institution's mandates and offer a foundation of joint efforts. We see this as a critical opportunity to deepen collaboration on the issue of missing persons. As the Secretary General mentioned in the recent report, and I quote, "Addressing the issue of missing persons has been a central challenge for many countries all over the world, following periods of crisis, during transitional phases, and throughout reconstruction." For Syria, a coordinated effort by the independent institution and the National Commission, bringing together the rich expertise and essential contributions of all relevant actors, local, national, and international, presents an unprecedented opportunity to address this challenge head on. I close the quote. It is clear from the Syrian voices that there are at least two things that every Syrian has in common: the will, the hope, and the love to rebuild their country, and the hope to find their loved ones. Clarifying the fate of the missing is not only a matter of personal closure. It is also a cornerstone of Syria's path toward justice, reconciliation, and reform. Looking for the missing everywhere is an ethical and collective endeavor that requires multilateralism, coordination, and trust. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. We will now begin by taking questions. We will take more than one question at a time. We would appreciate...
Thank you very much on behalf of the United Nations Correspondents Association for doing this briefing. My name is Edith Lederer from the Associated Press. I'm sure we were all interested in hearing all the structural arrangements and what you've been doing, and we've certainly heard from your predecessors. I think what we'd all like to know is what results you've found so far, particularly since the overthrow of Bashar Assad, and if you have any indication of how many Syrians are missing from all over. I mean, what's the number of people that you've been looking for? I think that's a good start. Thank you.
May we take one more question? Please.
We usually do them one at a time.
Okay, sure.
This is how we usually do press conferences here. Thank you.
We are a very young institution. We were just created a couple of years ago. Before the fall of the regime, we were not allowed to enter Syrian. I am the first head of this institution, and after the fall of the regime, we were able to enter Syria in early January, in early February, sorry, this year. And we have been in contact, as I said previously, with the authorities and of course with Syrian civil society and NGOs. They created their national institution, their national commission just 3 months ago, and we are dialoguing with them in terms of how we can complement our work together. In terms of how, what we have been doing, of course, as I said, we have opened several lines of inquiry that lets us to have strong hypotheses of where are some of the persons that we are looking for. For instance, missing children that were taken to orphanages, and we have been working on that file very strongly. Missing migrants, people that went missing by Daesh, and people that were forcibly disappeared by the previous regime, and the disappearances that had happened afterwards, after December 8. As of how many people we're looking for, thanks to the work of Syrian civil society, before December 8, we had a figure of around 130,000 people missing in Syria. 2 months ago, the National Commission for the Search of the Missing issued a statement where it stated that they thought there were in between 130,000 and 300,000 persons missing in Syria. What I can tell you from our own experience being there consistently in Syria is that everyone, as I said at the beginning, has someone missing in Syria, and or they know someone that is missing in Syria. This is something that every Syrian, unfortunately, has in common.
Please.
Just a quick follow-up. Have you actually succeeded since December in actually finding some of the missing?
Yes, I think this question is very important for me to explain that the process of looking for the missing, it's a very complex one. We have had so many experiences all over the world, and we all know that we need information, we need access, we need trust from the families, trust from the society, trust from the government to share this information, and we need processes. We cannot find people if we don't implement processes. I mean, we might find 1 or 2 or 3, but we want this to be a sustainable effort, because it's going to take years to find them. We have to bring all the expertise, the good and the bad experiences to Syria, like not to repeat the bad experiences, and we are ready to share this knowledge. To answer specifically to your question, we know that after the fall of the regime, many persons that we thought or we knew were missing came back. Some of them came back, they were alive, some of them haven't, and that is why it's so important for us to have a registration or a registry that we can all share, all the actors involved, to know exactly who we're looking for and in what context they went missing, because depending on what context they went missing, we have to implement different approaches.
Gentleman there, and then you. Thank you so much.
Thank you for doing this briefing. I have 2 questions. One on the Yazidi women.
Mm-hmm.
You know, in 2014, the Islamic State abducted thousands of Yazidi girls, and many of them remain missing.
Mm-hmm.
Do we have any update on the location of those women? And secondly, in May, the Human Rights Watch documented disappearances in Afrin under what it called Turkey-backed groups, especially SNA, Syrian National Army. Has your organization been working in Afrin, and what have you found, if yes? Thank you.
Thank you. As I said, we are working on a very like a broad file context regarding missing disappearances by Daesh, and of course that includes Yazidi women. We have a group that is dedicated to that. We are in contact with civil society organizations that work on that file. We have experts on this specific issue, and about Human Rights Watch, we have been in contact with them to receive more information of the events on Afrin. Thank you.
So you mentioned the children who were put into orphanages.
Yes.
Obviously, they changed their names.
Mhm.
So how do you go about, finding whose child this is? I mean, are you using any DNA testing?
Yes.
Or-
Yes, thank you. And that brings me back to the first question. I think it's very important for us to understand that looking for missing people takes processes. And we have a very professional team dedicated to looking for the missing children, and we are working with that also with the government. We first, it's not only about DNA. And I have to say, like, DNA is very important in the process of looking for the missing, but it's only one of it's an element in this whole process. We need to document, we need to investigate, we need to analyze documentation, official documentation, and this is, I mean, we're not starting from scratch. Of course, there are NGOs that have been following this file for a while, and we also have comparative experience from other parts of the world, for instance, from Argentina. So we know it takes a large process. In DNA can be the last part to corroborate our hypothesis, and we have documented hundreds of children that went missing in this context, and we are following up on them, and we are very positive that we are going to get results, of course, and I have to make this very clear. When we're talking about finding missing people and looking for missing people, it's about a collective endeavor. And when I say this is, there's a reason for this. Not like no one has all the pieces. In order for us to find people, we need information. And we need that information from different actors. So that's the reason why when I say, like, when we are looking into the missing file, we're working with several allies.
Please.
Thank you so much for this briefing. A couple of follow-ups. You mentioned and explained the complexity of finding the disappeared, but do you have any numbers still of people who have been freed since you began your work in there? Has anyone been freed, basically, or?
After December 8th,
Yeah.
No, we don't have.
That's the first one.
No, I don't have a specific number, but we can, of course, follow up on that.
Okay, and you said no one has all the pieces. I wonder if you're working also with former regime officials. They must have information more than others know about where these people are, where the prisons are, or is there no communication line at all? I don't know, it's a strange question, but one has to be asked.
No, and I think, like, when we talk about our humanitarian mandate, humanitarian means that we have to talk to everyone that has information, witnesses, survivors, and even if I cannot answer you directly your question, of course, if needed, we will approach whatever source we need to in order to find the missing.
On the Lebanese disappeared as well, and I wonder if you're working with the Lebanese Mothers Association. We know they're very active in Beirut, and if you have any news on that level, because we know there's, I think, 150,000 Lebanese in Syrian prisons.
We work very closely with the Lebanese CSOs. We actually signed an MOU with the National Commission, with the Lebanese National Commission for the Search of the Missing. We have had meetings with the Syrian authorities. I had a meeting a couple of months ago with the Minister of Justice. So yes, we're working because together, not only to look for Lebanese that went missing in Syria, but also Syrians that went missing while fleeing Syria, crossing through Lebanon. We also have strong ties with Lebanon because, as you are all aware, there's a huge Syrian community there, and we were just there a couple of months ago on a trial for our registration process. So yes, we work closely with them, and we are making progress as well.
Thank you. Hi, my name is Ibtisam Azem, Al-Arabi Al-Jadid newspaper. I have also a few follow-ups. First, there were several local NGOs, Syrian NGOs, who were working about the subject before the fall of the regime. Some of them were in places not under the regime control, and others in Europe and other places. So my first question is whether you are working with them, and how does this work look like? And also, you said in your introduction remarks that we intended to, I'm quoting, we intended to progressively evolve into a hybrid institution if and when circumstances allow. Could you explain that? What
Yes.
does that exactly mean? And the last part, you worked in other places doing similar work. How do you think Syria case different from these places? And which challenges you are facing there, which things you bring with you here to face these challenges? Thank you.
Thank you for the questions. Yes, we're working with Syrian CSOs from abroad, like working from the diaspora, and also those who have been working and that stayed in Syria. Just an example, for instance, from our advisory board, we have 11 members, 9 of which are Syrians, and half of them are Syrians who were in other countries, and the other 4 or 5 are and have been working in Syria in the last year. So we do work with all of them, and we do receive their input, their information. We have been receiving information, signing MOUs with many of them. We work with them on a daily basis. We are very serious about our victim-centered approach, so we communicate with them what we're doing, and we receive their inputs into that. When we say that we were thought to become a hybrid institution when and if circumstances allow, that's something that is stated in our founding resolution. And that's something that was thought by Syrians themselves when pushing for this resolution. They know and they want this to become eventually something that is that stays with them, and it's not only an international institution. We want to get there. It takes time, as I said in the introductory remarks. I myself have experience in building institutions like this, and it takes years because we need to implement. Not only we need the infrastructure, but also we need to train people and to implement specific methodologies, as I said, directed to look for the missing. We cannot solve an ordinary problem with an ordinary answer. We have to have extraordinary answers to extraordinary problems. So that's something that we have to help Syrians. We truly believe that we can help Syrians to build on their own. We are willing to help them in this process, and probably as a resolution, say, and Syrians themselves want, eventually we can start thinking of becoming hybrid, or see if we are needed in some years. But we do need, and this brings me to your next question, we need to bring experiences from all over the world. We, as an international community, have been looking for missing persons for decades. And we have been successful in some places, and we have not been that successful in others. So we have to learn from that. Time is of essence here in Syria, and we need to bring, scientific methods we can bring from other expertise. Public policy we can bring from other good experiences. Of course, the Colombian experience or the Mexican experience or the Balkan experience or the Sri Lanka experience is not the Syrian experience. And that's why it is very important for this to be Syrian-led, and that is why it's so important. When I say this, I'm not talking only about the government, I'm talking about families being involved in the process of looking for their loved ones. The context in Syria is different than my previous experience, but there are some similarities in terms of course, always women looking for the loved ones and being them the ones who push for these institutions to exist. As I said before, some specific methodologies have to be brought from other experiences, and I think that the knowledge that we have to be very mindful and very careful of not falling for quick wins, they say, because I mean we all know, we all want them to find them as fast as possible, but that's not necessarily true all the time. As I said before, we need an array of elements to be brought to the table: information, sharing it, seeing if this information is validating this information, and trust. And you don't build that from one day to another. When you're looking for someone, you have documentation here, of course, you have witnesses, and you have information that only families or survivors can give. And sometimes in comparative experience, there are places where you only have only this, or only this, or only this. And that's why it has taken us so many years in many other latitudes to bring this answer. We don't want this to happen to Syria. We know what it's needed to look for the missing and to find them. And we are very respectful of this being Syrian-led, because that's the only way that this can be sustainable. That's also an experience that we have had all over other countries that have gone through this. I think that
Just a quick follow-up. What about the money? Do you have the money you need to carry your mandate? Which challenges you're having there?
When looking for the missing, resources are never enough. Never, ever. And I am not only talking about the independent institution, it's about everyone that is involved in this. I mean, we have international institutions working in this, ICRC, ICIMP, we have NGOs, as you mentioned, we have the families, we have, of course, the government. And what we have to bring is the resources, not only financial resources, but political will. That's very important from member states, and this, that's why I mentioned a couple of times multilateralism. We all can bring different things to the table. There are countries that can help not only with resources, but also with labs, for instance. They can help with forensic groups. They can help with data systems. And we can all bring this to the table, and we can, as an independent institution, bring them all together to the table. One of the mistakes we have committed in previous experiences all over the world is thinking that only one institution can do this alone. No one can. Not the government, not the UN, not ICRC, not anyone. That's why we all have to work together and bring our tools. In terms of resources, we should all bring our resources to the table to help them once they have their process clear, so that we can help them for this to be a sustainable effort, because this is going to take years, decades.
Thank you for doing this briefing. In your work, have you started to work with UNHCR, because they have been involved in registering a lot of the refugees coming out of Syria? So have you checked with them to see if the people you're looking for may have been already registered by them?
We are working with them. We have also contact with IOM. Yes, we are reaching out to the UN entities that actually work directly or indirectly with the file, so we can bring, as I said, their piece of information to us. This is not easy. I have to be very clear. When we talk about sharing information, we have to be very careful because this has to be done in a very serious way. We know there are we have to protect information, we have to protect witnesses, and we are building this framework with all the entities we are signing MOUs with to make it very clear that we are only sharing information with the mission of finding them. That's the only purpose of us sharing and receiving information, protecting, of course, the families of the missing.
Thanks very much. I was wondering how much you're working with the U.S. government in finding missing people, specifically Austin Tice, whether you have actually contacted al-Assad in exile, and how much cooperation are you getting from regional governments? Are some of them holding back on information for whatever reason? Thanks.
Thank you. We have been meeting with the U.S. government since day one. The U.S. government was very supportive of our creation of our mandate, and we have made it clear to them, as to many other states, that we are also looking for those missing, their nationals missing in Syria, from the U.S., from Italy, for instance, from Jordan, from Iraq, from Lebanon. As I said previously, I have been personally meeting with these governments with the region. Of course, we know there are strong allies also to our mission, governments like Kuwait, Qatar. I mean, I don't want to leave someone out, but we definitely have been in contact with Jordan. I have been with Jordan, with Lebanon, and we are also working with all those member states that are part of the route of migrants, right? So I was in Cyprus just also a month ago. We have been talking to Greece, to Poland, to Italy, because we all know here that depending on the year, the routes changed and the reasons of why they were fleeing changed. So, yes, we are working on the file with all these governments.
Thank you for the briefing. My name is Ahmed Ali with Sphinx News TV. Your latest report, I read it, and it stressed the need to strengthen local capacity in Syria and for authorities to be cooperative in helping create institutions that align with international standards. This was, again, a commitment that Ahmed al-Shora, as you mentioned, made recently at the General Assembly when he came here just a week ago. Could you update us on your recent conversations with Syrian authorities regarding any practical steps forward on providing those international institutions that he promised? And as a follow-up, on a completely separate note, have the recent clashes between the Syrian Democratic Forces and the Syrian Armed Forces posed any additional challenges to your work? Maybe new accounts of missing people or logistical, political issues, whatnot. Thank you.
Thank you. We are in daily contact with the authorities, with the National Commissioner for the Search of the Missing, Dr. Rida Jalhi. I'm personally in contact with him, and yes, we have a follow-up of how we can coordinate, and I have to say that I have always been told that they want to work with us and with other international institutions. We were actually proposed to sign an MOU with them. We are in conversations about this. I am going to Damascus next week, and I'm going to stay there for a while, so we are in direct contact with them. I truly believe that in this moment the question is not if we are going to work together, but how in practice this is going to look like, right? And to be honest, this is a first in the international experience, having two institutions that are looking for the missing, and I am positive that we are going to find a way forward. As I said before, we have the expertise, international expertise, comparative expertise, that we are willing to share with them. And as I said previously, I am convinced, we are convinced at the institution that we can share this knowledge we have, and it is for Syrians to decide the path forward. Our resolution is very clear when it says that we are mandated to look for everyone before and after. It says something like that, the resolution before and after the creation of the institution. So for us, it's very clear that that includes people that went missing before December 8 and after December 8. And we have, we are in contact with NGOs, with families, and we have been receiving information about disappearances after December 8. And we are very transparent, and we have been sharing this information with the authorities. So we are talking about this.
Thank you. Islam Doğru from Anadolu Agency. You mentioned about 130 and 300,000 people might be missing. It's a pretty big number. And if I may ask, what is your workforce for this mandate, for this mission? And also, what's the biggest challenge you are facing in coming years in this mission?
Well, I will start with the challenge. The challenge to find 1,000 or 10,000 or 100,000 or 300,000 is huge for any government, regardless of the latitude. That's why I insist very much, and this gets me to the next question. That the challenge is to bring everyone that has a skill to the table, because no one, not us, not the Syrian government, not other institutions can do this alone, and the resources are not going to be enough ever to look for some people on this scale. That's why we need to work together, and we need to find a way first, and this is the challenge, to share information, to bring the information to the table, to build trust, to work with the families. If we don't have the trust of the families, if they are not involved directly and they know exactly what we're doing, we are not going to have enough information to find them. And also, when I say time is of essence, we know this from comparative experience. We don't want the families or the mothers of the missing to start dying before us being able to find an answer. We need to work as fast as possible. We are, and to answer your question, we are a modest institution, and now in this UNAT context, I think it's important to bring this to the table. When we were created, we were already thought in this context of being a small institution. We are around 40 persons, staff members there, but I don't think it's about the number. Of course, we can argue, and I can tell you how many persons the National Commission in Colombia has, or the Mexican, or the Salvadorian, or the of Sri Lanka. It's never enough. It's never enough, and it's not only the search mechanisms that are in charge of looking for the missing. For instance, who has information in any country? The military, the forensic institutes, hospitals, cemeteries, and of course families. And when we think about looking for the missing, we normally think, let's ask only the missing persons institution. Of course, we can give you some information, and we have the skills and the knowledge of how to work in this file. But we need the information and the joint efforts of so many others. And I think if you can help us convey this message, that we all have some information that can be brought to the table, and we need to give answers to Syria. But because the answers we give to Syria is the answers we want to give to everyone that has someone missing elsewhere.
May I follow up for a quick question?
Sorry, we have to leave exactly at 12, so we'll just take one question online and we'll come back to the room. Please go ahead, Mr. Abdelhamid.
Yeah, thank you, Ms. Quintana, for your briefing. My name is Abdelhamid Sayam from the Arabic daily Al-Quds Al-Arabi. One of the questions I was about to pose, you answered it about the atrocities committed after December 8th. My question about Palestinians in Syria. You said you spoke to Lebanon, to Jordan, to everyone, but you didn't mention any Palestinian party that you talked to. And I think there are a large number of Palestinians who are missing, who were populating major refugee camps, especially Yarmouk refugee camp. So what can you share with us about missing Palestinians in Syria?
Yes, and I apologize for that, but we are in contact with several NGOs working, led by Palestinians living in Syria. We actually met with them last February, and we are in constant contact with them. Yes, of course, they are part, when we say everyone, we really mean it. And we are looking for everyone missing in Syria, including Palestinians that went missing in Syria. And yes, we are in contact with the families and the civil society that is working the file in Syria.
Thank you.
Two quick follow-ups. First, do you believe that missing people from Syria are still alive and being held? And secondly, you said you're going back to Damascus,
Next week.
think this coming week.
Yes.
When do you envision having a permanent office there?
Thank you. Yes. The first principle to look for the missing, the UN principle when looking for the missing, is to look for them alive. And we want them to be alive, but we also know that depending on the context, we might not find many of them alive. And we have always been very truthful to the families, and we always talk to them with the truth. And if we have information that we might not be able to, and we have information that the person might not be alive, that we have the obligation to say this to the families. We are, we have information of allegations of, before answering that, do we think there are still people alive? Yes. The answer is yes. And just as an example, I want just to refer back to the missing children file. We have hundreds of names, and we are positive that hopefully, inshallah, many of them are alive, and we are following into that. And in terms of if we know of persons that being in prison that are still alive, or like missing people are still being in prison, we have received allegations. We are following up into that. I received a question previously about Yazidi women, and our team is following on to that. I cannot get any more information, but yes, we are. And in terms of the permanent presence, since day one, we have asked for an office. We have done an official request, and we are waiting. And we are very respectful, and we know this is. Everyone wants an office in Syria, and we know the Syrians are facing many challenges right now, and. We are patient, and but when you are a searcher, one thing you are is patient. You have to be patient, and I have to say that we have always been granted access. Our staff is there consistently, and I think the most important thing right now is to start coordinating with the local authority of how to work together, and I'm pretty sure the local permanent presence will come eventually, but we do not depend on that. Of course, we would love to be there, because we have to be working with families and with the authorities on the field. But we are there. We're there consistently, and we're positive that this is we're going to receive a positive answer when it's necessary.
Everyone, we would be happy to continue this conversation. You can always send us an email to IIMP-syria@un.org, and we will be outside for further discussions. Thank you.
Thank you. Gracias. Shukran.